Born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Ambassador Yakir Leiter answered the call of his heritage and immigrated to Israel at 18. He eventually would serve as chief of staff to then Finance Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where he helped shape Israel's economic and political landscape. Beyond his public service, however, Leiter's story is marked by profound personal sacrifice. As the IDF responded after October 7th, his eldest son, Major Moshe Leiter, father of 6 and a commander in Israel's elite Shaldog unit, gave his life in Gaza. He led one of the first units inside Gaza in order to defeat Hamas and help free the hostages. Now, as the ambassador steps onto the world stage, Leiter carries with him both the mantle of diplomacy and the heart of a grieving father, a testament to the enduring spirit of a nation. He speaks with conviction, addressing regional challenges, advocating for Israel's security, and championing the cause of peace through initiatives like the Abraham Accords. He also brings a deep faith in God rooted in the Hebrew Scriptures, and now he represents the Jewish state at one of the most critical times in its modern history.
Well, Yakir Leiter is Israel's ambassador to the United States. He joins us now from our bureau in Washington, D.C. for more on this story and for more on Israel and the Middle East. Ambassador, it's a great honor to have you with us today.
Good morning, Gordon. It's great to be with you. I prefer to be in Virginia Beach, but I'll have to settle for Washington this morning.
Well, maybe next time you can come down, and we'd love to host you here at Regent University to talk to the students. I think it would be a great thing.
I'd love to do that.
Let's talk about Hungary and the stand against the International Criminal Court. Do you think other European nations will follow suit?
Well, European nations indeed, but not only. I think it's really imperative for all people bearing a good conscience, a moral conscience, to pull out of the ICC. They've become a kangaroo court and the biggest purveyors of anti-Semitism in the world. You can't put the stain of Cain on the forehead of the Prime Minister of Israel and then expect anti-Semitism not to soar around the world. And that's what's happening because of the ICC and the ICJ. We have to stop this nonsense of kangaroo courts branding Israel, an apartheid or genocide state. We have done everything in our power to limit the casualties in Gaza. The people responsible for the deaths in Gaza are the Hamas. And they're the people that we're fighting, the terrorists we're fighting. We're fighting those terrorists on behalf not only of ourselves, but on behalf of every moderate in the Middle East and, frankly, on behalf of humanity.
How did the ICC get to this position? Because I think it's lost on the world stage and in the conversation that the chief prosecutor, I mean, he's British, but his parents are from Pakistan. He's Muslim. And then the chief justice, who was part of that conviction, he also is Muslim. He's now in the government in Lebanon. Why doesn't everybody recognize that it was rigged from the beginning?
Well, it's also been released that the chief prosecutor is nothing less than a sexual predator. And it's quite possible that he tried to deflect attention from his own issues with the law and directed it towards Israel, which is a common step that anti-Semites use, deflect onto the Jews. But we won't let it stand. We're going to persevere. Hungary is the first country. I think there are going to be other countries to follow. And the President Trump has set the precedent for all of this with his executive order, actually applying sanctions to the chief prosecutor of the ICC. In a few weeks, that executive order is going to be expanded, I understand, from the White House to include anybody having dealings with the ICC, anybody in the ICC, and anybody dealing with the ICC. So I think the president has taken the lead on this. Viktor Orban of Hungary has followed through, and I think we're going to see other countries follow through as well in the next couple of days.
Let's turn our attention to Gaza, the hostage negotiation, the ongoing war. What's Israel's long-term strategy?
Well, first of all, we have a short-term strategy, and that's getting the hostages out. I mean, this is just a really mind-boggling situation. We're in the 21st century, and this isn't a bank robbery that's gone wrong and hostages have been taken. This is a group of terrorists supported by Iran that took hostages, keeping them underground in dungeons for the sake of exacting terror upon our civilians, releasing their prisoners who are guilty in many cases of killing innocent people. So we first have to do everything we possibly can to have our hostages released by these terrorists. We're applying maximum military pressure right now. We've supported the efforts, really the superhuman efforts of Steve Witkoff, the president's personal envoy to the Middle East, negotiating through Qatar and Egypt with the Hamas to get our hostages out. So that's primary. Long term is to ensure that Gaza will never again become a Hamastan, an Iranian base to launch missiles and carry out terror attacks against our civilians.
This is a very personal story with you. You lost your son Moshe, and it's an incredible story. I think the whole world needs to know. Here, he had spent 15 years in Special Forces. He had witnessed what doctors were doing to save lives on a special mission, and so he decided to go into medical school. The first day of his residency was supposed to be October 8th, and October 7th obviously interfered with that, and he led the attack. He was on the front lines leading the attack, and he lost his life. And so, you know, may his memory be a blessing. What memory do you want the world to have of your son?
He was just a great human being. As you said, after spending 15 years in special ops and carrying out operations that are still classified, he was chosen to lead the division into Gaza on the first day of the war. And he said to his brother there in the picture, who was one of his soldiers, he said, listen, we may be afraid of war, but let's get in there and bring our hostages home. He was someone who loved people, loved life. I could see him tomorrow leading negotiations with our neighbors to enter into an era of normalization and peace. He was that kind of person who could lead battle, but also lead the battle for peace. He was just a beautiful human being, the oldest of my 8 children, and the father of 6. He left me 6 beautiful orphans, and many, many fond memories. But I know that he knew what he was fighting for, and that's for humanity, really, for the Jewish people, the Jewish state, for democracy in the Middle East, and for civility between nations.